This video is going to be an exploration and introduction to the Hermetic philosophy and its principles. Most people may not have heard of this because its roots are thousands of years old and it's not related to one of the major religions that exist today. Therefore, when people look at Hermeticism and the Kybalion, it can be thought of in two ways. This is amazing, I must know more. And unfortunately, more commonly, this is a lot of old religious made-up stuff, it doesn't mean anything to me. Both are valid opinions, and so we want to present to you the core information so that you can make up your own mind. As the book says, the all is mind, the universe is mental. So, if you would like to create a purposeful life and have the opportunity to expand your horizons beyond what current society is selling you, all you have to do is keep watching. It won't cost you a penny because we are here to share knowledge, not to persuade you to buy our philosophies. That title seems like quite a bold statement, but bear with us. As we mentioned, this video is an introduction to the Kybalion and the ways of thinking that happen within Hermetic philosophy. We do encourage you to buy or borrow your own copy of the book. However, we will cover its first principle for you here. These ways of thinking will help you to understand why your life tends to follow a pattern or a cycle, and why you can be left feeling unsatisfied with your current situation. Once you know the theories, you can start to self-evaluate and reflect on ways to improve your present and your future. Why is the Kybalion such a polarizing book? Well, firstly, a lot of people throughout history have attached negative meanings to some of the roots of the Hermetic teachings. For example, if you hear the word alchemy, today you may think of fantasy fiction such as Game of Thrones, or maybe even video games such as World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls. Scientists in modern-day teaching see alchemy as a pseudoscience of the past. It was associated with magic, and as we know, most magic was disproved by scientific principles in recent studies. But that doesn't mean that the alchemy has been disproved or denied. The Hermetic teachings within the Kybalion draw on ancient wisdom and were originally attributed to the Greek god Hermes over 2,000 years ago. In fact, these were a collection of writings that spanned centuries and were closely related to philosophers in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. So, while the mystery and showmanship of alchemy and magic has been worn away over time, the important ideas and questions that were posed are still extremely powerful. Just because you cannot scientifically create gold from lead doesn't mean that the value of ancient philosophies has diminished. The Kybalion book includes 7 Hermetic principles. It describes laws of nature and how you are connected consciously to everything around you. Today, let's look at the first principle described in the book. This phrase was made famous by Hermes. This figure was a combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. Although he is a figurehead for the book and the teachings, in reality, it was a collection of philosophers who collated the Hermetic principles in the book. It was a lot easier to say it was created by a single figurehead who represents the cause, rather than many authors across several centuries. Breaking down the statement, the all is the universe, and mental is within your own mind and consciousness. In essence, the universe is created within your mind by certain factors and laws. It is not external. You must recognize that we are not just living in the materialistic world that science is teaching us in schools. We are living in a spiritual reality too. Mostly the science in schools and universities is not talking about the mental theories and making a connection here. We have physical laws, the laws of Newton, the laws of relativity, but they don't really talk about the spiritual laws. At this point, we need you to remember that we aren't selling you this theory for profit. We aren't telling you that every single piece of astrological, star sign, fortune-telling mysticism is real. We're simply explaining that ancient philosophies should be respected and investigated with the same weight and purpose as physical science. Just like the fact that we have mapped and explored more of space and the universe in detail than our own oceans on our planet, the Hermetic principles pose complex questions which have yet to be fully understood. The first principle of mentalism is to describe how there is a higher consciousness behind the things that are created in our universe and how we are guided through life. The second part of this principle is that, although there is said to be a higher power, you still have a say over how you live your life, and so the path you choose to take also dictates what you attract through your journey. In this way, you cannot place blame for failure on a god or being in authority, because you are responsible for your actions within the universe that you have created in your mind. Whatever you focus on in your mind tends to manifest in your physical reality. Hence, you will hear people speaking about the law of attraction when it comes to things such as entrepreneurial enterprises and willing things into being. Having a positive, open and productive mindset helps you to focus and get along well with other people. Sharing ideas, being kind, learning from each other, these things happen when you reflect on your mental state. It's not a case of dreaming about money and fame and then you just become rich and famous. People and opportunities will be attracted to you when you have the foresight and dedication to invest in yourself rather than living superficially. Our viewers that have already started their spiritual journey will probably already have watched documentaries and movies made about the law of attraction. To clarify, this is not the oversimplified LOA that is frequently quoted by life coach scammers who want to sell you a quick fix for making more money or to suddenly cure your depression. The real law of attraction has many layers, and as we mentioned, it is used to describe the things you are focusing on mentally and then the direct relation this has to your external life. Of course, this is also part of the Kybalion, and true mindset advocates generally combine cognitive reframing techniques with affirmations and creative visualization to replace limiting or self-destructive negative thoughts with more empowered adaptive or positive thoughts. Unfortunately, the term law of attraction has been used so often and frequently with incorrect associations that today it has lost most of its meaning. Getting back to mentalism and the first principle of the Hermetic philosophy, this must be in place before you begin to consider the law of attraction. If this step is missed out or skipped over briefly, this is when misunderstanding can occur and you aren't able to fully comprehend what the law of attraction means or even how to implement it. Do not make the mistake of supposing that the little world you see around you, the Earth, which is a mere grain of dust in the universe, is the universe itself. There are millions upon millions of such worlds and greater, and there are millions on millions of such universes in existence within the infinite mind of the All. Reality is created piece by piece, layer by layer, through thoughts and theories. If you want to go the general mainstream route of quoting French philosopher René Descartes, you can say, "Cognito, ergo sum," I think, therefore I am. And guess what? This is also his first principle from his book Discourse on the Method, which was published in the year 1637. It will amaze you just how many historical philosophers and spiritualists recognise the importance of the mind above the physical world. In your mind, you have thoughts and you have emotions. These are often translated to a conscious mind, your thoughts, and a subconscious mind, your emotions. Your thoughts are amplified and affected by your emotions. This changes the way you behave and the choices that you make. This can often be seen when a person is under pressure or stressed. Their emotions control them. The way to embrace mindfulness and mentalism is to focus on something within your daily thoughts. Dedicate time to this when you are calm and reflective. Feel the vibrations and positive energy associated with the thought process and the end goal. Then, you will naturally radiate this. It's essential to take time each day to positively focus on yourself and your spiritual needs. We have the truth still with us, but it is not found in books to any given extent. It has been passed along from lip to ear. When it was written down at all, its meaning was veiled in terms of alchemy and astrology, so that only those possessing the key could read it aright. As we have briefly mentioned, Hermeticism is not one of the major world religions. It is a philosophy, but it falls awkwardly between theology and philosophy. So while it's not recognised as a religion, it is sometimes treated with the modern-day disdain that scientific principles have created to measure all spiritual things against. For instance, a logical, scientific mind would tell you that religious leaders and gods such as Jesus, Allah, and the Buddha, these are most likely figureheads that were invented for followers of that religion to keep within moral codes and life laws. A bit like Santa Claus being used to force children into being nice rather than naughty. Nobody wants to be on the naughty list, and all the adults know that he is fictional. The problem is that this creates a total disconnect between the investigative and research-led scientific world and the world of spiritualism, alchemy, and universal oneness concepts. Essentially, it mocks the idea that there could be anything other than a physical reality. These days, we have theoretical sciences, such as quantum mechanics, that may be verging on bringing the circle back around to spiritual concepts of vibration and rhythm. The issue is that for so many centuries, since the Enlightenment in the 18th century, scholars and powerful people have focused on emphasizing reason, individualism, and skepticism. The complete opposite of Hermetic philosophy. As an example, when Sir Isaac Newton became older, he began to study some of the ancient alchemy texts. He would spend hours and days transcribing their findings, and he became an advocate of metaphysics. The same goes for Leonardo da Vinci. These scientists were very fact-based people who started their careers studying physics, and in later life, they realised that there could be more than just one plane of existence. However, this was all pre-Enlightenment, and the messages of their work that survived the 18th and 19th century were just the physical and chemical discoveries. We do not live in a world of dreams, but in a universe which, while all relative, is real so far as our lives and actions are concerned. Our business in the universe is not to deny its existence, but to live using the laws to rise from lower to higher, living on, doing the best that we can under the circumstances arising each day. We highly recommend reading this book. We don't make profits from sales, and we aren't asking you to buy into any kind of course with us. All information on the Know How channel is free to access. The reason this book will improve your life is because it restores the knowledge that we are all connected. It has 7 easy-to-understand principles. When you read through each chapter, you will feel yourself being transported back to the time of the ancient philosophers such as Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato. You will recognise the underlying messages as universal behaviours and laws. Whether you are just starting out to explore your inner self and people's connections to the universe, or you're a seasoned spiritualist and truth seeker, you need this book in your life. If you have enjoyed this video and you're inspired by what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's change the world together.